Hello everyone, once again welcome to another edition of Bonita webinars. My name is Nicola, I'm based here in North America and part of the marketing team. Through these webinars we try to give you more insight into facilitating the adoption of our platform, of the Bonita platform, and how to also identify and apply innovative approaches. The versatility of our product, of Bonita, is very widespread, and as you may already know, you can find us in different collaborations, either in the cloud, in adaptive case management, in collaboration with RPA, robotic process automation, and other technologies. So fear not if you've missed any of these webinars. They're all posted on our website, on our YouTube and Vimeo channel. Once again, a little short introduction on Bonita. What we do actually is we help you create seamless applications on top of processes that you already have or will have in the future. As a digital transformation platform, we're BPM based and use BPMN notation to build what we call the living application. It's highly extensible, it's a highly customizable platform, and we are also low code, very different than no code, therefore not geared to citizen developers. Today's webinar title is Digital Automation, the Future of Pharma and Healthcare. And we'll display how our solution can help companies that work in the healthcare, pharmaceutical, or biotechnology industries. Your host today is Michael Dukan, Bonita Sales Director for North America and APAC. And just before we get started, we do invite you to actively take part by submitting any questions that you might have in the chat or questions window located at the bottom of your GoToWebinar dashboard. And our webinar host will try to answer as many as possible, either during the presentation or most likely at the very end when we'll have Q&A. So without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Michael.
Thank you, Nicola. Can you hear me well, Nico?
Yes, all good.
Perfect, thank you. Well, hello everyone. Thank you, Nicola, for the introduction. So I'm going to introduce myself once again. I'm Michael Ducon, the Sales Director for Bonita in North America. And today's topic and webinar is to present to you a little bit the projects and use cases that we can deliver with our platforms and how we've helped customer in pharmaceutical and healthcare industry. So also just for global references, you will see in some slides, and sometimes I talk about healthcare, but it englobes everything covering healthcare and pharmaceutical in general. Okay, so what is Bonita for? So I'm going to show you a little bit an analysis that we've done reading different articles today of what are the challenges in the healthcare sector, healthcare covering healthcare and pharmaceutical. So we've seen that, of course, the core activity and purpose of our healthcare and pharmaceutical companies is to provide a better experience for patients. So strategic patient experience means how can we best utilize our different tools, our different people, and our services to, at the end, improve and provide a better service, a better product, a better drug to a patient. So a lot of challenges around that I'm going to show you that we've done with some customers. Task automation, very specific also to digital transformation. How do we replace paper from digital? How do we utilize best the different tasks and settling between people? Task automation is a complex and lengthy process that requires a lot of intervention, both technical and manual. Same with patient experience, data management, patient data management from multiple sources. Also for a pharmaceutical company working with external partners, how can we best utilize and share content with different systems, both being internal and external? And the evolution of the market as well is how can we improve today and how can we provide new services, new value to the patient technologies. So here's a broad list of a number of use cases that we have done with our customers, especially more specifically with pharmaceutical and healthcare. So really to zoom and to name important processes that might ring a bell to you, everything related to patient outcome. So how can we best utilize records, all the medical records, the patient, the outcomes, and the number of processes for a customer? Understanding that we're talking about healthcare in general, everything related to compliance with FDA organization, regulatory compliance, you always have to track the different operations and the different data of the patient that you manage. Pharmaceutical purposes as well, drug discovery, clinical trials, everything related to claims and filling. So you can see here that it's a broad list of use cases that are both focused to user experience. So how can you best improve the way to collaborate within your organization? And as well, how can you best utilize and provide value to your customers and to your patients? So at BonitaSoft, we cover different angles with our platform. One of them, the main one, is digital transformation. So it's a wide topic, but to give you some ideas, especially what we see today in healthcare and pharmaceutical companies and mostly hospitals, is today the processes are slow, they take a lot of time, and they're painful for the people to operate. So digitalizing, replacing the paperwork is an important challenge to cope. Everybody has to be involved in operation and digital transformation areas as well. And healthcare is not, compared to other industries, is not necessarily seen as a profit center. It's really care value, care to the patient. So how can you best save money and time and avoiding having duplicated work? So bringing and finding ROI and digitizing processes is key in this industry. So BPM for BPM initiatives, you might be familiar with BPM, what we call business process management, which is typically a technology that helps you design a process with different tools to understand what are the steps, who does what, and with which IT system do you integrate, as well as providing and improving a user experience with the UI. So providing a UI as well is being able and giving the power to the users to fill in forms directly in your application, and also for you to be able to automate and have an end-to-end visibility of the process. So it's really core BPM as our core activity at BonitaSoft, but we also can cover more than this. And the third angle that I can illustrate as well as what we can serve through our technology is application development. Being an open source company at BonitaSoft and the framework we provide, we really talk about what we mention as a living application. What is a living application? Is typically a business application that you develop and based on processes, and that is also a great alternative to custom dev, as we have an agile approach, and we have built-in connectors and extension points from application that really helps developers really build a specific application. So agility, greater control, faster developments, these are some benefits that we can provide with our living applications. So now I'm going to zoom into some customer references. So just for the purpose of this presentation, the one that I've chosen, especially for BristolMyers, who's a BonitaSoft customer, this use case has been presented publicly by BristolMyers, and I think it was great to illustrate a little bit where they started, what challenges did they have, and what value did we provide with our platform. So the challenges that they had typically was having a lot of requests that were done mostly manual today between chemists and the labs around the drug discovery. So the objective was to eliminate paper-based processes, improve collaboration between the people, both internal and external, and also being able to better track and measure the impact that they have losing that time and doing it manually. So this is an example detailed of the process and the request process that they have. So I'm not going to go in details on the chart, but just to give you an idea of the number of interactions from both Excel sheets, different systems, different people, exchanging by phone, exchanging by emails, and so on. So the chemist or the analyst on the right, or at the center of the interactions of this given process. So they wanted to avoid redundancy, they wanted to have more transparency, and they really wanted to automate and to be able to track and measure with defined SLAs how they can improve that. So the outcome of building the application that they did through the BonitaSoft is, after a couple of years today, that they've built almost 5 applications with regards to this process, moving from manual to digital. It's been used by 1,400 users, and of course, it covers the initial purpose of having the 500 to 600 new requests daily. So the outcomes from a broader pictures that they have been able to measure and share publicly in different events is that they've been able to reduce the application delivery time. So the time to build the application was 50% more efficient than the way they were doing before that. They have saved also 11,000 hours a year of time saving just on the way to operate the different tasks. The time spent on those tasks were cumbersome, were taking too much time, and they've been able to measure on a yearly basis number of hours saved. And the outcome, of course, saving money, having an improved user experience, and just for the matter of this presentation, they've also shared the value and the benefits that they've had. I wanted to share with you a quote, a couple of quotes from BristolMyers, that the way that they started the approach of an application is sometimes can be challenging and skeptical. So they realized, and of course being demonstrated with the proof of concept, that the framework that we provided was able to cover, of course, their initial process as well as additional applications. And the second quote is also just to recognize that they have presented and they've been recognized by the Transformation and Operational Excellence World Summit as an award for a successful project and for the benefits that they shared in their digital transformation process. Second example is a company called Commonwealth Informatics that you might be familiar with, and they are specialized in what we call signal management. So it's everything related to pharmaceutical purposes of drug analysis, drug discovery, and they have built a specific software around drug safety. So typically it's a cloud-based application, signal management system that helps them detect, track, and measure the different levels of the drugs, and also to make sure that the threshold are reached. Just an example, if they launch a new product, or a pharmaceutical company would launch a new product and it reaches out warnings and alerts, then you have to notify regulatory organizations such as the FDA. You have to notify as well that the product and the drug is not ready to go in this market. So typically what they did is they embedded the Bonita software framework in their own software. So here we're in their application development use case to, of course, improve and track all the tasks, all the operation, and the collection of data to provide their signal management system. So it composes of three departments: signal detection, everything related to signal management as well, and at the end, analyzing the results, alerting, and improving the drug to be ready to go in the market. So the benefit that they've had of implementing and building their application and having to leverage new capabilities with Bonita Soft was, of course, to be able to have more conclusive investigations, to be able to prove alert at the right time of the signals and alerts on different drugs, to increase efficiency. That's one of the most typical benefits and pain points that our customers tell us is when we ask them, what are you looking for to do with a platform? What are you looking to do with BPM? Typically they say we want to improve efficiency. So collaboration, workflow, and visibility as well. And the more accurate data they have, then the more insights and the more ideas and new services you can build on top of that. Third example of a use case is a hospital in Spain that it's called SESCAM, and they have used Bonita Soft for very specific use cases, which is the colon detection cancer process. So to explain why they wanted to investigate and improve this colon cancer screening process is they wanted to make sure that each screening process is followed at the right time and the right step of the way that they have to treat their patients within the hospital, and of course ensuring that the patient has the appropriate follow-up. So you see here that the outcome is not only technical as how you can improve an IT system within a hospital to provide better service, but it's really to improve the patient's follow-up in the end. And especially within regard to colon cancer, the more early you can detect a warning or a specific care, then the better you can save potentially lives. So just a list of challenges. I'm not going to go in a whole list, but they had multiple sources of data and applications. They had different instances per hospital, and they weren't able to track today the end-to-end process. So with Bonita, they've been able to design, model the entire process of the colon screening cancer, to gather the information at the right time, to integrate with the different IT stacks in their organization, and to have a better orchestration, diagnostic, and follow-up. So like I say again, especially with this use case, if the diagnosis is made at an early stage, then you can have a more appropriate treatment and increase the probability of avoiding and also being able to cure the specific cancer. So the quote from our customer that I think was interesting to share with us was, with the benefit of Bonita software orchestration, they have been able to detect for 51 people at early stage the detection of the colon cancer, which allows them to have a better treatment in the end. Okay, so after sharing a little bit the different use cases that we've been able to cover in the integration, I'm going to present to you in a few slides the different components of the Bonita platform. So just for the purpose of this presentation, don't hesitate as well to go on our YouTube page on Bonita, to go on our website as well, to have a full overview of the platform. You can also download the product to be able to have a peek of what the product can do. So like Nicolas introduced in the beginning, at Bonita, we're an open source company, and we position ourselves in what we call the low-code technology. What does low-code mean? It means compared to the custom code on the right, where typically custom code is specific developments. You do your developments yourself. You have to have skilled people. You have to know what you want to implement, and you also have to maintain the application. Whereas on the left, on the out of the box, is typically we could compare with Salesforce capabilities or ServiceNow. It's mostly configuration. The application is ready to use, and then you want people to collaborate as well. But it has some limitations. So this is where we fit in the low-code. It's for us, low-code is we provide the different tools with graphical capabilities that I'm going to show you in the next slides, as well as extension and integration points. So what we've seen in the value we provide to our customers is iterative development, especially when you need to make changes. You know how live updates and changes on a given application processes can be costly and painful, as well as to be able to address very complex needs of application of processes, and having the option and possibility to have extension and coding around the graphical components that we provide. So more specifically with Bonita here, this is our Bonita Studio. So it's our core modeling design framework. So we respect the BPM 2 standard, which is the most common language to follow up best practices around BPM and process modeling. As you see, it's visual. You have drag and drop capabilities, native extension points with different systems. Could be RFPs, could be database, API REST capabilities, and web services are, of course, are also a lot requested by our customers. And we also have shared repository based on that. Our second component, after you design a given process with given steps, you build and you want to build the forms for the end users. So building forms in the end users mean that the users in the end will have the forms to fill. They do not need to have any technical capabilities. They just have to fill the information that's been requested. But for you as an organization or for an IT department, you want to build the forms for the end users. So this is our framework, which is a page editor. It's based on Angular, JS, and Bootstrap. So for those who are familiar with that technology, we really are using Bootstrap 6 version to do that, with same drag and drop capabilities to be able to replicate forms, to use widgets, and also to extend and to have the most customizable look of the forms that you want to build for the end users. And the last slide is to show you the picture of Bonita today. Being an open source vendor, we're the largest open source vendor today in the BPM, IBPM space. We've been recognized by many analysts, Forrester, Gartner, and specific digital transformation experts such as Aragon and AWD. We are the only open source vendor in the Gartner quadrants. That's also a great recognition for us and for the market. So that means that we are an enterprise-ready company that can scale and support our customers in large organizations. Being open source means that we have a large community of contributors. We have, like I mentioned in the beginning, we also have a free community version that people can download, test, ramp up to build simple applications. And the contributors, the members, can share their developments also on the forum. So everything that has been built by other contributors can be utilized and integrated directly in your application. But more specifically for enterprise purposes, we also have an enterprise solution with more advanced capabilities around customization of forms, around integration, clustering. These are, and support, of course, for core and critical processes. We cover a large number of customers all over the world. We have a large partner ecosystem. We position ourselves as a technology vendor and our service provider. So we rely on our partners, and we want our customers and you guys to become independent in development, as it's a very powerful development framework. And I think I have reached the end of my presentation. So I hope I wasn't too fast for you to follow. It was really the objective of showing the use cases and give some insights and ideas of the use cases and the value we can provide, more specifically in healthcare and pharmaceutical companies. So I'm going to check with Nicolas as well as if we have some questions that we can answer. Okay.
All right, thank you, Michael, for your presentation. Looking at the chat box, I don't see any questions currently. Please feel free to place any if you have them, either in the chat box or in the questions panel.
Okay, so I'm trying to open the box right now. I don't know why. It's not working. Let's see something. Just one thing. Here we go. So back to the presentation. Here should work. Okay. Okay, so what I do is, while maybe we wait for some questions, I'm going to anticipate and also provide you some additional information. So in case you wanted to know also other use cases that we have covered with our customers, just to name a couple, we've been working with a company called Allianz Healthcare, which is a drug distributor. So typically their main role is to provide the drug and deliver the drugs from the pharmaceutical companies to the different hospitals and clinics. And we have helped them around their claims management process. So that, what that means? Every time they fail in delivering a drug or product, that creates a claim. So everything related to the claim process itself has been implemented with Bonita to better improve the way that they handle the drugs. Another company called Learning Health for patient management. The way that you utilize and the way you treat the data of the customers also can be automated. And another one is also patient dispatch within one central platform. Second question that we also quite often have is typically how long does it take to build an application within Bonita or to implement a new process? Well, the answer can be quite large, but just to give you some insights, being agile, being open source, we have an iterative approach. So we've seen very often customers that are able to build and go live application within a couple months. So from the process design that you've seen in the studio right there, ensuring that you have the right integration points, then building the appropriate forms also can be done quite efficiently and quite fast. And in addition to the development itself, our deployment modes of our application, we are both on-premise and cloud capable. So what does that mean is that the application of Bonita can be hosted in your own servers, or you can deploy it also with AWS. Even though it's important to mention that we're not a SaaS company, so you purchase the software with your right of use, and then you can deploy it easily with AWS or on-premises. And on top of that, we also provide an enterprise edition additional capabilities. So everything related to development itself. How can you best utilize the DevOps practices, we do have a Bonita Soft continuous deployment add-on that helps you build, Dockerize, and deploy artifacts and new applications within a few clicks and a few minutes directly in AWS. And I think I have reached my complimentary information and questions, so I see maybe one new question. Is it possible to implement foreign data sources, patient data from proprietary patient data management system in a hospital? So I do not know exactly what you mean by foreign data sources, but in fact, exactly, if the objective is how can you collect data within a process, or you need to provide and have the information from a third system, which would be a patient data management system from a hospital or from your organization, the answer is yes. The way to do it is you review and you see the way that you need to retrieve the data. So either you have a custom connector that is specific to this application that only this application can access, and in that case you can create the connector to access this directly in the application, but most commonly you could use APIs, web services. They're the most common way to retrieve and collect data. What is important to say as well is within Bonita Soft, we do not, you have the capability to store the data that you want to manage in the process, but it is not mandatory, meaning that, again, if you want to utilize the product to make the process work as an application, but the data is in within your organization, your servers, or external systems as well, you can directly leave the data where it is and we can manage directly. Okay, so yeah, I hope I have covered this question. Just checking with you, Nico, if we maybe wait a couple more minutes if we have additional questions. If not, of course, don't hesitate to reach out to us, and I'll be more than happy to provide you with additional answers.
Yes, looks like we don't have any questions currently, but I've included our link to our contact form on our website in the chat area. So if you have any questions or would like to discuss in more detail about some ongoing projects or future goals that you might have, yeah, please feel free to reach out at any time, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible and try to accommodate the projects that you're working on. So with that, I think we can end the session. We'd like to thank everybody for attending. We just hope you have a great rest of your day and looking forward to hearing from you soon. So thank you once again. Mike, thanks for a great presentation once again, and have a great day, everybody.
Well, thank you, Nicolas. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.